In the last class, we actually stopped before intervention. Sometimes government intervene foreign exchange market for different reasons. So when we talk about interventions, there are mostly two types: direct or indirect. Before we move on to specific types of interventions, it is essential to understand why they intervene in the market. What is their motivations to impact foreign exchange rate? Any idea? Why government want to intervene in foreign exchange market, directly or indirectly? What is their motivation? So couple of motivations. Sometimes they want to strong their currency, weak their currency to increase or decrease balance of trade, right? That's one of the motivations. Because if they get weak their home currency, they can motivate some more exports. Other than that, some other motivations why government want to intervene: smoothing the exchange rate movements. Let's say you own a MNC and you want to invest in foreign country. So now you're examining the foreign exchange rate movements of your home currency with the foreign currency, right? 0, 1, 2, 3. Two different movements. This is one kind of movement versus this is second kind of movement. If you want to initiate a business in foreign country and want to do that business for a very long period of time, as an MNC investor, which one you prefer? One or two? One? Why not two? Risky, right? You never know how your cash flow value should be going forward, right? It's going to affect the value of an MNC very, very adversely, right? That's the first reason. Government want to smooth the exchange rate so that they can attract foreign investors in their country. Sometimes government has a motivation to keep their exchange rate with other countries in a certain boundary. Maybe they are doing managed float or pegging, right? If they're doing managed float or they're following pegging exchange rate, they have to maintain that. So that could be the motivation to intervene in the foreign exchange market. Responding temporary disturbances. You can think about what Russia did during the war. So they literally forced all of their partners to pay for their foreign trades in Russian ruble, so that they can fight with the temporary disturbances. These are some broad motivations, because the final outcome that every government wants: smooth economic growth, attract foreign investors, keep the balance of trade as expected. So they intervene foreign exchange market so that their exchange rates do not look like heart rate. It's more of a flat, smooth rate. Make sense? Any questions? Okay. Now, process for direct intervention. What is the process? So you can think about The name has the definitions. When it's a direct intervention, that means government will directly participate in the exchange market, foreign exchange market. We know that each country or each government have reserve for its own home currency and foreign currency, right? Each government, each country have a reserve for home currency and foreign currency, right? And you also know that exchange rate is determined by supply and demand in the foreign exchange market, right? Now let's say US government want, let's say this is the relationship between pound versus dollar. US government has reserve for both pound and dollar. Okay. Now US government want pound to appreciate. US government want pound to appreciate. What the US government should do as a direct intervention so that pound appreciate and US dollar depreciate. Now we can think about US government literally as a financial institutions. They have their own reserve to hold the exchange rate, their US dollar strength, and what they should do in that circumstances so that pound appreciate, foreign currency appreciate, US dollar depreciate, so that they can influence export, what they should do. Decrease the demand for what? Decrease the demand for pound. So decrease the demand for pound. That means pound should depreciate, right? Think about US dollar. US dollar have both dollar reserve, both pound reserve. They want pound appreciate, dollar depreciate. So if I have more demand for something, it appreciate, right? Increase, change the word. So now, if US government decided increase the demand for pound, they started buying pound using their dollar reserve. So what they did? New demand curve. They literally performed in the financial market or foreign exchange market. They ordered financial institutions. Hey, here I'm giving you US dollar, you give me pound. So there is a demand increase for the foreign currency, which is pound here. And we can see that when demand goes up, pound should appreciate. Now, if we look at the situations, US government is not pound to depreciate, dollar to appreciate, what they can do. Okay. So you can say they can reduce the demand for pound, right? That could be situations. They can reduce the demand for pound, or they can increase the supply for pound, right? Because they also have reserve for British pound. So they can also increase the supply for pound too, by holding more dollar and selling off pound. So ideally, if we come over here, This is what we are talking about so far. Ideally, when government directly intervene in the foreign exchange market, they just perform like another financial institutions. That's it. Think out for another institution. What activities of the financial institutions will appreciate or depreciate foreign currency? That's it. They will directly go to the market, increase or decrease their results for home or foreign currency, so that they can influence exchange rate as they want. Make sense? Either increasing demand, increasing supply, something like that. Yeah.
It makes the process of value revalue.
Right,
Yeah.
right, exactly the same, yes. So sometimes we are talking about 100 years before, the fixed exchange rate, right? Due to economic conditions, they have to devalue or revalue, right? Same process. Playing with the reserve. Same process. Good questions. Now, how they can perform? We already explained first reasons. Reliance on reserve, right? They have reserve for their home currency, they have reserve for their foreign currency. They can directly play with the reserve, increase or decrease, depending on what is the need. That's the first way of directly intervening on it. Second way, sometimes it is easy to do if we play as a game or play as a team. So let's say Eurozone. 20 countries use euro as their own currency. When they make this decision coordinately, like they will all increase or decrease the reserve so that euro appreciate, euro depreciate. So they are doing the steps coordinated way, right? Collaboration and coordinations. There are a couple of countries that use dollar for the international trade. A lot of countries, if they coordinately, therefore play against US dollar by coordinately increasing or decreasing reserve, that could be another way of directly intervening in the market. So they can do solo, which is reliance on their own reserve. They can do with other countries, which is coordination. But in any way, their job is similar. Reliance on the reserve, increase or decrease, so that they can strengthen or weaken their currency. Make sense? There are a couple of different ways your country, your central bank can intervene directly. One is called non-sterilized and the other is called sterilized. In medical term, do we know what is sterilized mean? It's a kind of medical term, sterilization. What is that? No idea. Right. Disinfecting, right? Let's say we cut our hand or something, it could be infected, right? So they actually spray something so that they can disinfect it. It's not cleaning, it's like disinfect. So that is sterilizations. Central bank can do either through sterilizations or without sterilizations. So what does it mean? Non-sterilized mean they will only play in the foreign exchange market without adjusting for money supply. Without adjusting for money supply. That is non-sterilized. We'll go over example. Things will be clear. Sterilized means intervene in the market at the same time simultaneously exchange or simultaneously control money supply. Let me explain. US government weaken US dollar. What is the subsequent impact you believe? If US government directly intervene in the foreign exchange market and weaken the US dollar, what is the impact should have on the US economy? What is the most direct impact should have? More export, absolutely. If there is more export, what is the next step you can expect from there? If US export to Mexico, Canada, China, UK, then they're sending products in return. What is coming? Foreign currency US currency. Because they will pay in US dollar, right? Foreign currency or US currency? What is the impact on the money supply? Okay. If we have more money, what does it mean? If we have more money at hand, if we used to have $10 in pocket, now have $20 in pocket. What does it mean? More purchasing power, right? More purchasing power. If you have more purchasing power, what is the implication? It could be more import, could be inflation, right? Because we are demanding more product from US, could be more import, more inflation. If there is more import, simultaneously we are offsetting the more export, right? Balance of trade may be same, no benefit, right? If there is not more import, but we are demanding more products from US, inflation could be more, right? The government's expectation may be in vain, right? Their planning may be in vain, right? So, government can do two things. Either they will leave as is, do whatever they want to do. This is called non-sterilized direct intervention, because they directly intervene the market. At the same time, weaken the US dollar by intervention, and then they do nothing. They do not control for this increased money supply. This is non-sterilized. They are only intervening the foreign exchange market without adjusting, changing the money supply. On the other hand, for the second step, government intervene the market and also want to tackle increased money supply. How they can tackle? How they can tackle? David, make it more loud. Absolutely. You should trade in bonds. Bonds. So government do not want more money supply. So if on the US economy there is no money supply, there is no more money supply, what are the implications? Not more purchase power, should not be an impact on inflation, or should not be an impact on the more import. So government is successful in their planning. So that is non-sterilized versus sterilized interventions. If we flip the situations, government strengthen the US dollar, is going to be reversed. It's going to be reverse. So that's the job. When government only intervene the market. That's it. No other steps. Let it go as is, non-sterilized. Government intervene the market. At the same time, government is controlling money supply by issuing or buying treasury bonds. This is sterilized. And sterilized is easier in a way to achieve the objective. Because in non-sterilized, things can go in any direction. It's tough to decide because after getting more money, you never know what consumer gonna do. They can spend, they can, I don't know. It's tough to say, right? Questions, non-sterilized versus sterilized.
The issue from influence money supply.
How that? Good point. So let's say this way. Do we know how issuing bonds right now is the affect the money supply? What Fed is doing exactly right now to control inflation? So let's say this way. You have idle money, okay? You are a consumer. Idle money. You don't know what to do. You can put the money in the checking account in Bank of Cardsville and earn 0%. Or you can buy those treasury bonds from the government, put money there, and can earn maybe 1, 2, or 3% interest rate. So now, where is your money if you buy the bond? If you buy the treasury bond, where is your money? At Fed, right? So when Fed is getting your money, they will not circulate that money in the economy, right? They're storing it. But if you put your money in a Bank of Cardsville for nothing, Bank of Cardsville will use that money for further loan. Your money is someone else's bank. So that means money is circulating in the economy. But when Fed is having your money, they will not go circulate. They will just store it. Make sense now? So through this way, Fed can control the money supply. Okay. Now let me explain what Fed is doing right now. Do you know the exact Fed fund rates right now? How much is Fed funds rate right now? Or federal funds rate right now? How much you got from the Google? 4.5. Jerome Powell is trying to make it 6% base. If you Google how much it was during COVID, exactly March 2020, just Google how much it was. It should be 0 to 0.25% if you just Google March 2020 US federal funds rate. How much? 0.25? Any idea what is the implication? March 2020, COVID just hit USA. Just hit, I think maybe New York, only in New York. 0 to 0.25%. March 4.57. What is the implication? What is it? Why Jerome Powell is mad on this? What is trying to do with that? What he's trying to do with that? What is trying to do with that? How we can do? How we can do this inflation with that? Huh? Throwing money, it's throwing money away. Do you know what is federal funds rate actually? What it is used for? Federal funds rate. There is two different things. Federal funds rate. I know this is out of the context of this class. This is financial markets. If you're taking financial markets, federal funds rate, discount rate. What is the difference? When you see federal funds rate, you don't need to Google. I'm telling you. When you see federal funds rate, So we have to understand when banks lend you money, they are lending money from someone else's money, right? So bank actually takes a deposit from someone else and lend it to the businessman, right? So deposit comes from saver group and loan goes to borrower group to do business. So bank has to put certain amounts of reserve for each $1 of deposit in the Federal Reserve System. And that varies. Around 5 to 15%, that varies. I think right now around 50. I can't remember the exact number. But bank has to put for each dollar of deposit certain percentage of reserve with the Federal Reserve System. And that balance is checked every day. Every day, bank has to tell Fed, I have $10 million deposit. I should have 1 million or 1.5 million of reserve just idle, safety idle. If that reserve goes down, bank has to borrow from other financial institutions or from the Fed. From other financial institutions or from the Fed. When bank borrow from other financial institutions, they have to pay federal funds rate. When bank borrow from Fed, they have to pay discount rate. And that's why if you take economics class, they will tell you central bank is the lender of last resort, right? Why they tell you? Because when bank fail to maintain the minimum reserve, bank also asks for money from other financial institutions. No one is lending them. Bank can borrow from the bank and discount rate. That's why they are the lender of last resort. No one is there, central bank. And that's why discount rate will be always higher, at least 0.1% higher than 12%. Has to be higher. At least by market, it has to be. Because Fed one, don't come to me. Come to other financial institutions. Now, if Fed is increasing it like skyscraper, what's the impact? Impact is now banks are scared. They will try to restrain themselves, providing more loan to the businessmen. Because if they missed the reserve requirement, they have to pay 4.5%, which is really huge. It used to be 0.25%, 4. Huge. So Fed is literally scaring banks, do not make more loans. If you make fail to have the result, you have to bear this much. Fed is trying to decrease money supply from the economy. Fed is trying to tell us, if not needed, do not make any purchase. Make sense? This is the way Fed is actually controlling supply. When Fed take the money back, they will not circulate in the economy. They will just keep it as a storage. And that is the reason Fed is increasing interest rate to control for inflation. Because if I don't have the money tomorrow, if you don't have the money tomorrow, if we go to the Walmart, we'll only look at the stuff. We're not going to buy it, right? We don't have money. So if we have less demand, what is the impact? When you have less demand, what is the impact? Price goes down. Given the same supply, we can fight with inflation. That's the inflation. Increasing federal funds rate, forcing consumers not to purchase. But there are also impacts we're going to talk about very shortly. Common questions: sterilized versus non-sterilized.
Okay, because long rate these things it can attract more investment from foreign market, and like it will appreciate the foreign currency.
It can, if foreigners have more supply of fund, it can. But at least the motivation was from the domestic side, it is reducing the money supply. So here is the graph what we talked about. When government or the central bank or Federal Reserve want to non-sterilize, their activity is limited only with that. Make sense? Just participate in the market, that's it, nothing else. When they go for sterilized, one more step. So they participate in the market at the same time. They have treasury securities to control money supply in the economy. Make sense? What is the reasons for interventions? Make the home currency weak, right? Make the home currency weak so that they can influence more export, right? At the same time, if there is more export, we know that maybe more money supply or the subsequent impact, right? Same thing, sometimes they can influence the home currency to be strong, to fight for inflation. How they can do it? When the home currency is strong, import is cheap, right? If home currency is strong, import is cheap. What does it mean? If I need goods and services, I can go outside of USA and buy goods and services. More foreign competition. Now, foreign manufacturers can fight with US manufacturers, right? Because we have more demand for outsiders, right? What is the problem here? US manufacturers. Can they increase price more or no? Cannot, right? If US manufacturers cannot increase price, inflation within US should be controlled because there are no competitions. Do you see any problem here? US strengthened the dollar. Now we have more purchase power going outside, more import. US manufacturers have less authority or less pricing power, right? Because more foreign competitions. Less restrictions for new entrant, right? And problems you see. So US government can control the inflation. complexities, problems, looks good. So if US manufacturers have no pricing power, and US manufacturers may face lower demand because more competition, do you think US manufacturers will be able to recruit or will be able to employ employees at a similar level like before? Do you think yes or no? No, right? So this policy or these steps can increase unemployment. In the USA. Make sense? So the idea is they can directly intervene for weaker income currency. There are some good things, more export, more money supply, but there are also some bad things because more money supply can increase inflation, right? Or can increase imports so that we are completely upsetting the benefit of income currency. On the other hand, if you go for strong home currency, what is the thing? We can control for inflation, but we may experience more unemployment in the USA. Make sense? Any questions? Direct interventions. So this is something you can think about. Cumulative impact in graph. So far, what we talked, weak versus strong. Okay. Oops. Now, financial institutions, currency traders, broker, if they know some intervention is coming, what do you think what they should do? What they should do? Yes, sleep at house, sleep idle. What they should do? Watch movies, nothing else. They want to make money from it, right? So basically, if intervention is coming and if they know some currency going to be strengthening, they will buy right now, right? So then going forward, they can convert, increase their value. Similarly, if they know some currency going to be weakening, they will act accordingly, right? That's why sometimes central bank will try to do all of these strategies of efforts in these banks without hinting the traders, financial institutions, what's coming up. Because otherwise, it may make the overall scenario or overall objective hard to achieve. Hard to achieve. Because if US want to strengthen US dollar against pound, and speculators, traders want to make money from it, US government may not achieve that stability. They may not achieve in control inflation, all these things. Similarly, same thing gonna happen for, they are planning for a weak US dollar, but speculators already in their plan, in their trading strategies to make money. Central bank always try to disguise all of these efforts. Any questions? We are done with direct interventions. Any questions? Now let's move on to indirect intervention. What is indirect interventions? If you can remember, I don't know, maybe chapter 3 or 4, we are trying to talk about some factors that affect percentage change in spot rate. Inflation, interest, income level, government control, and I think this is expectation. Inflation, interest rate, income, government control, and expectations. Sometimes government try to control inflation. That has direct impact on the exchange rate, right? Sometimes they try to control interest rate, income level, that has impact on the exchange rate, right? So basically, if government not participating directly on the foreign exchange market, rather playing with all these factors that have impact on the spot rate or expected spot rate, government is indirectly intervening foreign exchange market. Achieve strengthening or weakening, but not directly playing with the result. Rather playing with some other factors that has impact on the exchange rate. So this is what we covered in chapter 3 or 4. So I recommend just go over and know all those topics so that you will get to know how they are trying to achieve some indirect intervention. So this is like just extensions. If government want to increase or decrease interest rates, that has impact on the exchange rate, right? Oh, that's it. So we're done for today. And have a nice spring break. See you after the spring break.